Welcome back to Mac Music Review, the internet's busiest Christian music nerd. In this episode, we're looking at a Newsboys album. This one's called Restart. Here is the album cover. Restart is, I believe, the third album Newsboys released in the 2010s, hot off of the heels of 2011's, or 2012's? 2011 or 2012, God's Not Dead came out, and it really just blasted Michael-Tait-era Newsboys to like the most popular, well-known Christian contemporary music band. They were the stuff, and as a result, this album got a lot of popularity. A whole bunch of these songs that weren't even played on the radio were huge songs. The songs were big even if they weren't getting airplay. Songs like That's How You Change the World and Live with Abandon have like tons of views on YouTube. I mean, I don't know how much Live with Abandon has, but I think That's How You Change the World got like over 30 million views, which is a lot for a Christian contemporary music song that is not a radio hit, because it really wasn't a radio hit. And maybe it got radio play in some places, but I don't think it was really a radio hit. But some of the songs on this did get significant airtime. Specifically, I'm talking about the song We Believe. This is a huge song. This is probably Newsboys' second most popular song overall, even surpassing the Newsboys songs of old, from the 90s and the 2000s. Yeah, this was a pretty big album in the world of Christian contemporary music. Musically and stylistically, they kind of abandon the more worshipful, slow vibe going on God's Not Dead and go back to a sound that's more reminiscent of Born Again, where they're willing to be a little bit funky, they're willing to be epic, they're willing to just make some songs that kind of rock. They're also willing to fiddle with some electronic instrumentation, as the title track suggests, Restart. And the first verse of the song is like, I was finished, game over. And so, game over, video game reference. And the music video is like freaking Mega Man. It's them singing in like a Mega Man art style, and there's a Mario superstar, but it looks really bad, and it's a pretty cringe music video. And the song in a way is kind of cringe, but another way, I kind of like it. And that is, in general, my thoughts on the entire album, the thoughts on that song. It's kind of cringe, but I like it, and it has a lot more personality, despite the tired and true nature of the lyrics, of this narrative of, I was in this place, and now I'm like this, which I think is pretty good on one or two songs. But when you just beat that message into the ground, first I was not a Christian, I did all this bad stuff, and now I'm a Christian, and I'm saved, I'm born again. They've done that theme, of course, on the album Born Again, and on many of their songs, and they're doing the same thing here. But the lyrical content is not why I like this album. Even the lyrical content is actually kind of good on some of the songs, surprisingly. I like this album because musically it's a more distinctive than freaking Love Riot and freaking God's Not Dead. It actually has some personality, and they're willing to have some fun, and they're willing to rock, and they're willing to be a little bit epic, and they're willing to do some electronic stuff, and it's just a fun album, especially compared to the vast majority of Christian contemporary music, which is very dull and very samey. This is actually willing to do its own thing. They're willing to have some musical creativity, and I respect that, especially in the world of Christian contemporary music. That's How You Change the World feels epic, and I respect the epicness of the scope of that song they went for. Restart, like I said, is a fun song full of electronic music that, dude, it's a little cringe. It has not aged well, I will say that. But that's fine, because it kind of has some personality with this kind of cringe, a little bit outdated electronic music. I kind of like that aspect of it. Love Like I Mean It has a big hook, which is nice. Live with Abandon is similarly epic. Not as epic as That's How You Change the World, because the lyrics are not as epic, but it has a similar epic vibe, and it works pretty well. Go Glow is a song that fiddles with electronic instrumentation to semi-successful results. I sort of like it. That Home is a very emotional song that is really stripped back and like acoustic, or not entirely. They do have some stuff in the background But it's mostly just a very sincere, very emotional song about Michael-Tait's mother and how amazing she was. And dude, it's good. Disaster is easily one of the best songs on the album. It just, once again, it carries home the epic vibe, epic music, and it just works. This song really does hit a little bit different, and it's actually a really solid song. I kind of like this song. Fishers of Men is a bit of a shallow rock song. It is a rock song, but it just feels like it's not very full sounding. It feels very like compressed and restrained, and it's not one of the better songs on the album. Even though I do like the rock direction it's trying to go in, it doesn't really do it super well. Let me just go back to my notes real quick. One Word is fine. Enemy is fine. Both songs are not bad. Both songs don't leave a super strong impression. We Believe, the most popular song on the album, probably the second most popular Newsboys song, gets tons of radio play even today. It's like, if you know the Rich Mullins song Creed, you probably don't. That's a very, it's like a much less popular, much more artistic version of this song, which in the song Newsboys are basically just stating, not the doxology, like the Nicene Creed, or like the statement of faith that every Christian makes, like that you repeat every Sunday. Or not all churches do that, but I go to a church where they do that from time to time, where you say, hey, I believe in this, I believe in Jesus Christ, that he died on the cross for our sins, and it's kind of like just that, but into a song. It works pretty well. It hits a little bit. This song would have no appeal to a secular audience. It has no appeal to a non-Christian audience, but it's pretty good. To be honest, it feels weird giving it the score I'm gonna give it, because it seems like kind of a high score, but I kind of have to, because it's definitely better than God's Not Dead. It just is. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5, which seems kind of high. When you think about it, it's a solid album. I really was not bored listening to this. It really does have things that pique your interest. And while the songs themselves are rarely ever great, they're usually good. Like, it's rare for the song to be not. The only song, like even One Word and Enemy, are not bad songs. Fishers of Men is the only one that kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but even then I don't hate that song. It's just not a very offensive record. It doesn't have a lot that's gonna make you upset, in my opinion. Unless you really hate unless you really hate outdated electronic music. I think there's some charm to that. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5. I kind of like it. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.